What's up, everyone? So in this video, I'm going to talk about one of the best things I've ever been to, and that is Mardi Gras. Now, Mardi Gras is an incredible event with a huge clash of music, culture, partying obviously, food, history, and so much more. It's one of the best things I've ever experienced. And like anything, there's a right way to do Mardi Gras and a wrong way to do Mardi Gras. So in this video, I'm going to give you 10 things that I wish I knew before attending Mardi Gras. Now, before I get into it, I will say I'm also a DJ music producer, and I actually made a song encapsulating the vibe and the energy of Mardi Gras, and I've it listed below in the description if you want to check it out. But anyway, let's jump into it. Number 1. Bring dress clothes. Now, this is something that I really didn't expect in terms of dressing up, and I mean like business casual. There was one point even where I wore a suit coat, button-up shirt, and business pants, and nice shoes. And the main reason why is, as you can imagine, the food in New Orleans is incredible. It's unbelievable, being honest. It's ridiculous. And a lot of the places which I didn't expect want you to dress up. Now, I will say for Mardi Gras, they're a little bit more relaxed than normal. Obviously, they understand, especially the restaurants on Bourbon Street, they understand, look, people are partying, they came here to have fun, and they might literally stumble in from the street to grab some food. So they are a little bit more relaxed, but even still, there are a lot of places that I went to that actually would not let you in if you did not have, let's say, like, business casual attire. So, for example, like I said, business pants, a button-up shirt, nice shoes, a suit coat. I don't think a tie is necessary, but it doesn't hurt, right? So the biggest thing I can suggest right off the bat, this is actually the first one I wrote down when I was kind of creating notes for this video, is make sure you bring dress clothes. I mean, really, really nice dress clothes. I'm telling you, and if you want to experience good food, and it's probably not anything surprising, the places that have you dress up more so usually have the better food. So if you want to have really good food, I'm telling you, bring dress clothes. Number 2, buy beads. Now, in case it's no surprise, beads are kind of the universal staple of Mardi Gras. It's kind of like, in a weird way, kind of the currency, if I could call it that, of Mardi Gras. And I'm telling you, you're going to have a way better time if you have more beads. Just being able to go on the balcony, whether it's on Frenchmen Street or Bourbon Street or wherever, or just if you're at a parade, being able to give them out, it just makes the experience way more exciting, especially if you only have a couple around your neck, you're going to be a lot more stingy, for lack of a better word, than if, like, say, you have a lot. So a big thing I suggest to people is when you get there, go to a store, and, tons of stores carry them, obviously. You can buy, like, a giant bag of beads for probably, like, 20, 30 bucks, and I'm telling you, it's going to make the experience way more exciting. So it's super fun to go on those balconies, for example, on Bourbon Street, which is, where it's known, and just be throwing them out to people, giving them out, trading them. It just makes it a lot more exciting, makes the experience a lot better. Number 3, stay in the French Quarter. This one is massive. Now, in case you don't know, the French Quarter is kind of the area that Bourbon Street and Frenchmen Street are around. It's kind of like, think of it, the hub of Mardi Gras. And as you can imagine, especially with the parades going on, people walking during the street with the police cutting off traffic at certain points, getting to the French Quarter, especially if you're taking like a Lyft or an Uber or a taxi, is a nightmare. And I promise you that if you don't stay in the French Quarter, it's probably going to cost you more, being honest, getting to and from there, not even counting the time and everything, than if you just stayed in the French Quarter. Now, obviously, as you can imagine, all the hotels in the French Quarter spike up their rates during Mardi Gras time. Huge surprise, right? But I promise you that you can spend way more getting a cheap hotel outside of it and trying to get in and out every single day. Not to mention, it's super convenient to like walk out of your hotel and instantly be like, oh great, we can grab a drink and like walk 2 feet or walk 2 seconds down the road and bam, we're instantly on Bourbon. Or we can walk a little bit and be in the French Market or at Jackson Square or on Frenchmen Street or whatever. So I'm telling you, stay in the French Quarter, you'll thank me later on. Number 4, buy seating for parades. Now, when it comes to the parades, that's a huge staple of Mardi Gras. You definitely have to see at least one. The parades are incredible. And you can actually buy seating for them. It definitely depends. I think when I went, one of the ones I saw, I think it was like $50 for a seating. And that may seem like a lot. You may be like, oh, $50 just to watch a parade that I could watch for free? Like, what's the big deal? But the truth is, this basic grandstand seating, they're obviously lifted up, so you can kind of stand up and look at the whole parade. But you basically have a designated area that you don't have to get there super early. People at Mardi Gras, they get crazy overpraised. There are literally people, I'm not making this up, who sleep overnight in tents to make sure they have a spot right in front of that parade for that next morning. I'm not making that up. So people get so intense when it comes to parades, and I'm telling you, even though it might seem like a lot, be like, oh, why would I spend $50 when I could just stand on the side and watch for free? You don't have to get there early. You don't have to get all stressed. In addition to, you have access, and for most of the cases, you have access to bathrooms, which is hugely important, and like say a bar that you can grab drinks at, whatever. And it's easy. It ignores all the stress and the chaoticness of trying to get a good spot. Make sure you don't lose your spot. Holding your hand on the railing to make sure that no one else steals it, or if your friend goes away, trying to hold their spot, while someone else is trying to grab it. I'm telling you, it makes it a lot easier. In addition to, all the people that will be sitting in grandstand are also in a good mood. They're having a fun time in those standings. So you can have just a huge fun time with everyone. I met a lot of people there, and we had fun. We had drinks. We were talking. They gave us really good suggestions, when I was there, of where to go and everything. You just have a way better time, especially if you want to see the parades, which you should. Definitely get grandstand seating. Number 5, assume you're going to lose people. This is just a general guideline, not only for Mardi Gras, but any big event, like a music festival, for example, where you have a lot of people in one area. In case you don't know, in case you've never been to something like this, when there's a lot of people confined in one area, your cell phone reception won't work as well. So sending those texts like, hey, where are you, are probably not going to be delivered, just because there's so many people packed into one tight area. I mean, if you think about it too, even if that text does go through, the chance of somebody being packed in with people, taking out their phone and then texting you back, it's going to be a nightmare. So if I were you, make sure you have some type of system, whether it's to say, hey, if we lose you, meet back at this one spot. Or, okay, in case you don't meet back at 9 p.m. at the hotel, and then we can meet and then go back out. Definitely assume you're going to lose people. If you're with a group of people, and let's say, it's a group of people and you're going out and you're having fun, it's a little bit different. But let's say if you're there with, your significant other, for example, you definitely want to be holding their hand super tight, making sure that you're, super close to them. Because all we need is, say, to be like, oh, give me 1 second, I'm just going to grab this real quick. You turn around, the crowd got so intense, they're already pushed back all the way, you can't even see them anymore. It gets so intense and chaotic, especially in places like Bourbon Street, where you can barely even move, that you can lose people like that. So make sure you have some type of system or some type of method that, assuming you are going to lose them, being Murphy's Law, you can kind of find them again, after all the festivities happen, or you have a meeting spot, or whatever works best for you. Number 6, do a history tour. This is one that I didn't expect, because I remember I did this history tour, it was Friday morning at 9 a.m., and I remember my friend woke me up. It was literally, we partied all night. We woke up at 8:30. The last thing I felt like doing was walking around in the heat, because it was hot that day, for 2 hours learning about the history of New Orleans. I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. But I'm not joking, especially in hindsight, I am so glad I did. One of the coolest things from my perspective about Mardi Gras is that it's not just a general thing where people go and party. I think it gets a lot of that rap. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of partying in New Orleans in Mardi Gras. Not anything surprising. But I think one of the coolest things about it is it's not just about partying, is that there's a whole story to it. And doing this history tour was really interesting. I learned about all the grave sites and why, for example, the gravestones and the graveyards, while they're all above ground as opposed to below ground. All this unique history about all the different houses. Which is cool, I actually, during this history tour, walked by the Manning's house, in terms of Archibald Manning, Eli Manning, and Peyton Manning, walked by their house, and just crazy coincidence, definition of coincidence. As I was walking by, Eli Manning and Archibald Manning happened to walk out of their house, and we got to meet him and say hi. It was a quick interaction, but we got to meet him and say hi, and I was like, what are the chances of that, right? So being able to do a history tour, I'm not saying that will happen with everybody, by the way, when it comes to the Mannings. That was the luckiest circumstance I can describe. But besides that, I learned so much history about why Mardi Gras happens. What is Mardi Gras? What do the colors mean? Why is the architecture in New Orleans the way it is? All these unique things, and it just adds, I think, a better just depth and perspective as to why the festival is more than just drinking and partying. There's a lot more to it, and I think it's something that you should just do. I'm telling you, it'll cost me $20 a person. Usually the people who do the tours are really knowledgeable, and they're people that are just walking with you. So it's very casual, yet informative at the same time. It's not something that you sit there and it's boring. You're like walking with them. They're people too, so you can say to them like, hey, you know what about this, or what about this, or can we not do this, but can we talk about this instead? You can kind of customize the tour, as long as you ask the tour guide kind of how you want, which is kind of cool too. So definitely have fun with that. And I'm telling you, even if it's one of those things where you're like, you know what, I don't care about the history, it is really interesting. I will say that because I'm not much of a history person. I don't really care much for history, but I'm really glad I did the history tour. Number 7, carry minimal items. Now, big thing I have to say is, as you can imagine, especially when it comes to Mardi Gras, when a lot of people are there, they're drinking and everything, crime can be pretty big. It's gotten better over the years, especially, as time has gone on, there's been a lot more cops there and a lot more enforcement and everything. So it's gotten better. However, things like pickpocketing are still super, super prevalent, especially when you have a giant group of people that are packed in and people are drinking and not really paying attention. It's really easy. And even if you think, oh, it's not going to happen to me, those are the people that it happens to. So a big thing I can suggest is make sure you carry minimal items. I'm saying maybe your hotel room key, maybe a credit card, or if not, honestly, a hotel room key and some cash. That's a really good method too, to not blow a ton of money when you're there. Say, okay, I'm going to go out with $50. Once I run out of this $50, that's it. That's all I'm doing for this night or whatever. And this should do, if someone steals $50 from you, it sucks, but it's not the end of the world. If someone steals your credit card from you, you have to cancel that credit card. Now you can't use it again when you're there. Now it's like, how are you going to pay for things if that was your main method of payment? It's a nightmare. So a big thing I cannot suggest enough is make sure you carry the most minimalistic items you can. A big thing I suggest is, and I have a link this below to one if you want to check it out, get a phone case that has like a slide or a slot that you can put your cards in, right? A lot of phone cases have this. You have your ID, your credit card or debit card, and maybe some cash and your hotel room card, and that's all you need. Another big thing I suggest, actually, because it's been known for people to like grab people's phones actually in their hands or whatever, is get like it looks kind of weird, but they're on the cases, and I do have a link this below to one. You can basically attach this case to your phone, and it has like a little like string attachment that for me would put on my belt. So if I actually drop my phone, it would kind of like hang, if that makes sense. Or like say if someone tried to grab it from me, it would like tug at my belt and they wouldn't be able to pull the phone away. So that's a big thing that I do suggest too, because that way your phone's always kind of with you and you don't have to worry about it, like say again, like dropping it and having to pick back up, or all this kind of stuff. And that way, if you think about it, you have your phone, that's everything you need, it's right there in your pocket. Even if someone tries pickpocketing it from you, it's going to be difficult. I mean, granted, I have heard of people using knives to cut the strings, but, I mean, again, this is just Murphy's Lawing it. The truth is, just be minimal with your items. Be cognizant that there are pickpocketers there, and you should be fine. Number 8, don't reach down to pick stuff up. Now, this is a weird one. This is one I actually read on a site before I went to Mardi Gras, and I was like, really? Like, what do you mean? Like, what's the big deal? But now, after being there, I get it, and the reason why is there's so many people, they're moving really fast, and there's been a lot of cases of people's hands being broken, fractured, and just destroyed from people trampling on their hands. So a big technique is, let's say if you drop your debit card or something that you're like, look, I have to pick that up. A big technique that, they basically suggest is to step on it, like literally step on it, and then go down and then pick it up under your foot. So that way, if someone steps on your foot, you have shoes on, no big deal, but your hands are a whole different story. And it's very, very easy to not think about this. Let's say, especially with something like beads, like say someone throws you beads from a balcony, you go to snag them, they hit your hand, they fall on the ground, and you go to reach down and pick them up. Just be constant. Look, hurting your hand is not worth a 10-cent, how much ever they cost, a 10-cent worth, thing of beads. Like, it's just not worth it. So I'm telling you, if you do want to pick up those beads, or let's say if you do drop something that's really, really important, make sure you step on it beforehand and then go and pick it up. Number 9, go to a funk or jazz or blues show. Now, if you're in New Orleans and you're in Mardi Gras, it's almost impossible. It's probably literally impossible to go there and not hear some jazz music or funk music or ska or blues. I mean, it's on the streets. The street performers are incredible. It's in most of the bars and everything. But a big thing I suggest to a lot of people is like, look, if you go to a bar and you're grabbing a drink and you hear the music playing, awesome. But one thing I suggest, especially, on a random night, especially on Frenchman Street, cannot suggest enough, and I guess I've given like a little pro tip here too, even though Bourbon Street is the street that it's known for, make sure you go to Frenchman Street. I mean, Bourbon Street, in my opinion, is kind of like the Broadway. If you've ever been to Nashville, it's like similar to Broadway. or it's similar to, like, say, the Vegas Strip, obviously in Vegas, where, yeah, you have to do it but it's very touristy, and some of the best parts about that city are the other areas. New Orleans is no different, and I think Frenchman Street, in my opinion, I actually like it better, and I cannot just have to go there because pick a night, or maybe pick even a segment of a night where, like, we're going to go there to pregame or to start off our night. Go there and just sit down and enjoy the music. Like, you just pick like a half hour, or an hour or two, whatever, and sit there and just watch music, as opposed to going there, grabbing a drink, listening for like 2 seconds in the background and leaving. Because the music in New Orleans is phenomenal. And even though for me, even though I do love music, obviously I'm a DJ, music producer, I started with classical and jazz, so I'm huge into jazz. I love jazz. But even so, even though it's not your cup of tea, just do it to experience something different, something new. Because I'm telling you, some of the musicians that I saw in New Orleans were unreal. And it's worth it. I mean, for me, I don't like country music personally, but I remember when I was in Nashville, for example, I went and saw a country show just because, something to experience. Like, I've never done it before. It's not my forte, it's not my thing, but, why not do it just to experience something new and something different? And same thing with New Orleans. And like I said, it's almost impossible to be there and not listen to jazz music. I mean, that's pretty much inevitable. But I do suggest, even if it's the start of your night or maybe the end or whatever, go to a place you can sit down, enjoy some nice music, have a nice drink or meal or whatever, and just enjoy the moment and not worry about all the kind of chaoticness that happens at Mardi Gras. And lastly, number 10 is dress up. Now, I'm not talking about number 1, which I talk about dressing up as well in terms of dressing up fancy, but when I mean dress up, I mean costumes. And the interesting thing that I did not expect when I went to Mardi Gras is that people go all out on their outfits. I mean, there are people, and you'll see this a lot, trust me, in full suits that have the Mardi Gras colors. You'll see 5 or 10 people, like I saw people dressed up as lobsters. I saw people doing golden showers, this one where they're all just in gold. I saw all these different people doing all these super creative costumes. And I'm not even joking. The costumes I saw on Mardi Gras, especially on Fat Tuesday, I saw more on Fat Tuesday than any other day, were better than most Halloween costumes I've ever seen. So people really, go all out when it comes to dressing up for Mardi Gras. It's I didn't even know that people did that, to be honest. Like, I knew people would be like, oh, they're going to wear the mask or they're going to have some type of thing on their head. But I didn't expect for people to do like full on like Mario and Luigi costumes or all these other type of very unique costumes that I didn't expect. I'm telling you, it's not just going to be people in their 20s. I mean, I saw 80-year-old grandmas all dressed up in this super unique costume. It was awesome. Like the costumes that people made, I can't imagine the amount of hours of work that went into it. So a big thing I suggest, I'm telling you, especially if you're that type of person that really likes to dress up and have fun with it, make a really unique costume. It's going to make it all the better. It's going to be awesome. So I really hope all these tips are really helpful. Obviously, these are the 10 things that I wish I knew before going to Mardi Gras. And I think like anything, obviously, like I said in the beginning, there's a good way to do it and a bad way to do it. And hopefully these tips and techniques and tricks help you obviously have the best time possible in Mardi Gras. Like anything, obviously, overall, be safe, have fun, enjoy yourself, and experience a bunch of new things. Because when it comes to Mardi Gras, there's a lot of culture, food, history, partying, and everything all smashed in one amazing event.